And in 1934, Mao Zedong undertakes his long march in search of sanctuary in the remote province of Shenxi, in the caves of Yan'an. It is as if an army had been ordered to march on foot 6,000 miles through hostile territory in 1 year. Following a tortuous roundabout route, the communists cross 18 mountain ranges, some of them higher than the European Alps. In the beginning, there are 180,000 marchers in the communist caravan, curling across the hills and plains of China for 50 miles and more. Casualties are enormous. 3/4 of the marchers die en route. But the survivors press on, and when they reach their mountain sanctuary, Mao himself is on hand to salute and welcome them. He is and has been throughout the long march in full command. There are only a few thousand communists in the caves of Yan'an, but from this humble beginning, their influence will grow and multiply, reach out and conquer. The communists ideologically are constantly on the attack, denouncing the nationalist government and Chiang Kai-shek. And Mao does something no military leader in China has done before. He sends his soldiers into the fields to work beside the peasants, to help them, and to talk to them of the new China, the communist China, in which landlords will be made to give up their farms to the peasants. Propaganda teams travel the countryside. Dancers perform morality plays in which the landlords are the devils and the communists are the forces of righteousness, trampling their class enemy. Chiang Kai-shek is aware of the growing pro-communist sentiment in China. He realizes that it is a threat as great, if not greater, than the aggressive ambitions of the Japanese. For Chiang and for nationalist China, the sands of time are running out. And yet, the nation, her cities, and her people reflect little of the uneasiness, unrest, uncertainty that cast their shadows from within and without. Shanghai, 1937. The blow falls. Japan strikes. When Chiang Kai-shek is forced into war with Japan, when China must fight for her life, the communists are given representation in a coalition government. Mao Zedong makes his real aims very clear.
We are fighting 70% for self-development, 20% for compromise, 10% against Japan.
As the Sino-Japanese War goes on, Mao is promoted in Chinese communist propaganda as a popular anti-Japanese patriot. Wherever and however the Red troops move into battle, they spread the glory of Mao Zedong and the greatness of the communist cause. On their backs, they carry posters and slogans as they march through the countryside. When the war ends in 1945, Mao's guerrillas have grown from 40,000 to 1 million. The enemy from without has been conquered, but within, the fight has just begun. For post-war China is a nation exhausted by battle. People eat grass. Misery and hunger are deeply etched on the land and on the people. This is the time for Mao Zedong to launch his so-called War of National Liberation. Communist forces have been strengthened by the acquisition of captured Japanese weapons and ammunition, stockpiled in Manchuria and seized with Russian assistance. Mao's strategy is based on a protracted war, a war that will weaken the nationalists as the communists grow stronger.
Enemy advances, we retreat. Enemy camps, we harass. Enemy tires, we attack. Enemy retreats, we pursue.
Time and again, Chiang Kai-shek's stronger, better equipped army units find themselves fighting an elusive, shadowy enemy that melts into the mountains. And in the midst of battle, communist soldiers harangue the nationalists, calling on Chiang's troops, often with great effect, to desert to the communist side. Mao Zedong's self-proclaimed War of National Liberation is a series of battles of annihilation.
Injuring all of a man's 10 fingers is not as effective as chopping off one, and routing 10 enemy divisions is not as effective as annihilating one of them.
Mao's conquest of mainland China begins with his guerrillas gaining control of the rural areas. Then the cities are surrounded and isolated, engulfed and defeated. Mao's blueprint for conquest is succeeding just as planned. All along, Mao woos the intellectuals, the middle force in China, with talk of a coalition government, a united front, a new democracy. But Mao's promises of popular representation only mask the communist leader's real intentions. Finally, all of mainland China is swallowed up by the so-called liberation movement, and 1/4 of the world's population is brought under communist control. But on Formosa, renamed Taiwan, more than 10 million Chinese remain free. Chiang Kai-shek has escaped and set up a Republic of China government in opposition to the communists. Chiang signs a mutual defense treaty with the United States and vows one day to liberate captive China. In Beiping, on October 1st, 1949, Mao Zedong proclaims the birth of the People's Republic of China. In communist China, with the War of National Liberation won, Mao Zedong reveals to the world that he is no gentle agrarian reformer. In the first 5 years of the People's Republic, at least 800,000 anti-communists, by Mao's own admission, are tried and executed. Millions more die from local excesses, from imprisonment, from assignment to so-called labor reform units. In foreign affairs, Mao becomes increasingly militant.